Have you ever had one of those moments where you took a step and suddenly felt your body wobble just a little more than you expected? Maybe it happened on the stairs. Maybe it happened when you stepped off a curb. Or maybe it caught you by surprise when you were simply turning around in the kitchen. If you're over 50, you've probably noticed it at least once. And let me tell you something right now, you're not alone, and it does not mean you're weak, out of shape, or getting old. What it really means is that your balance system has been quietly losing power behind the scenes, and most people don't even realize it's happening until something forces them to notice. But here's the exciting part. There are 3 specific balance exercises that work unbelievably fast, and today I'm going to explain exactly why they work so quickly, using simple science anyone can understand. And by the time you finish this video, you're not just going to know what the exercises are, you're going to understand your body in a totally new way. You'll know exactly what controls your balance, how it weakens, and what you can do starting today to rebuild it in less time than you think. So stick with me, because what I'm about to tell you changes everything. Now, if you're like most people over 50, you've probably noticed that balance feels different than it used to. Maybe you're not falling. Maybe you're not unsteady all the time. But something just feels off, slower, less controlled. Movements feel a little more careful. And that's because balance is one of the first physical abilities to slip, but the decline is so sneaky that we don't notice it until the system is already under stress. Think about it like this. If your muscles get weak, you feel it. You notice you can't lift something you used to lift. If your endurance drops, you feel it when you get out of breath on the stairs. But when balance weakens, your body compensates silently. Your feet take wider steps. Your knees stiffen. Your core tightens more than usual. You avoid quick turns. You avoid uneven ground. Your brain quietly rewires your movement patterns without you realizing it, all to keep you safe. But eventually the compensation reaches its limit, and one small wobble makes you think, whoa, that wasn't happening a few years ago. But here's the good news. Balance is one of the most trainable abilities in the body, and it responds quickly, much faster than strength or endurance. And the reason is simple. Balance is mostly a brain and nerve skill, not just a muscle skill. And anything that trains the brain tends to improve fast. Most people think balance comes from the legs. And yes, strong legs help. But balance actually comes from 3 systems working together like a perfect team. First, you have your visual system. Your eyes tell your brain where you are in space. Second, you have your vestibular system. That's your inner ear, which tracks motion, direction, and head position. Third, you have your proprioceptive system. That's your body's internal GPS, made of tiny sensors in your muscles and joints that tell your brain what each body part is doing. When balance starts slipping, it's almost always because one or more of these systems has become slow, weak, or underused. And that's why these 3 exercises I'm going to share work so incredibly fast. They target all 3 systems at once. Now before I teach you the exercises, you need to understand something important. When people over 50 try to improve balance, they usually do the wrong things. They try to balance on one foot and hold it as long as possible. They try to stand on a cushion. They try to walk heel to toe. They do overly complicated moves from YouTube videos. And yes, some of that stuff can help, but here's the problem. They're training balance like it's a muscle. But balance isn't a muscle. It's a communication system. And when a communication system is slow, the key isn't to overwhelm it. The key is to wake it up, to stimulate it, to sharpen it. And that's why these 3 exercises give results often within days, sometimes even within the same week. They wake up the nerve pathways that control your balance, kind of like upgrading your body's internal software. Now let's get into the first exercise, and this one shocks people because it looks almost too simple. But when you understand the science behind it, you'll see why it works so quickly. The first exercise is the single leg weight shift. And no, I'm not telling you to stand on one foot. I'm telling you to shift your weight onto one leg and then switch sides gently. That's it. And you might be wondering, how can something that simple be so effective? Here's why. When you shift your weight from one leg to the other, your brain is recalibrating thousands of tiny stabilizer muscles around your ankles, knees, hips, and core. These stabilizers are the key to balance, but they don't get activated during normal walking. When you shift weight slowly, it forces the stabilizers to fire in a controlled way, and the nerves around your joints send stronger signals to your brain. In simple terms, you're teaching your brain exactly how to control your center of gravity again. And people feel results very quickly because the nerves around the ankle wake up almost immediately. This exercise is like turning the lights back on in a room you didn't realize had gone dim over the years. When people do this for even a few minutes a day, they often tell me, "I feel more steady walking around the house," or "My steps feel lighter," or "I can turn without losing balance." And that happens because your body is learning how to shift weight efficiently again. The second exercise works fast for a totally different reason, and if you're over 50, this one might be the most important of the three. It's called the heel-to-toe rock. Again, super simple. You rock your weight gently forward onto your toes and then backward onto your heels. This exercise targets your vestibular system and your proprioception at the same time. Your inner ear loves motion, especially forward and back motion. When you rock forward and backward, your vestibular system wakes up, and that sends your brain stronger, clearer signals about movement and direction. At the same time, the pressure sensors on the bottom of your feet become more active. And this is huge. Those sensors weaken with age because most people don't stimulate their feet enough. Shoes, flat floors, and sitting too much weaken foot feedback. But the faster your feet can sense pressure changes, the faster your brain can react to prevent a fall. Heel-to-toe rocking is basically balanced CPR for your feet. It brings them back to life. And it improves your reaction speed, something that declines drastically after 50 if you don't train it. When your body reacts faster, you don't even notice a stumble. Your body corrects itself instantly. Now let's talk about the third exercise, and this is the one that pulls everything together. The turning head control drill. This one is simple but incredibly powerful. You stand tall, shift your weight evenly, and turn your head left and right slowly while keeping your body stable. Why does this work so fast? Because your vestibular system depends on head movement. When you turn your head, the fluid in your inner ear shifts, and your brain uses that movement to stabilize your entire body. Over time, most people lose this ability because they stop rotating their head during movement. They turn their whole body instead. They avoid quick rotations. They get stiff. They get careful. But the moment you start training head movement again, your vestibular system comes back online. This is one of the fastest ways to improve balance because it forces your eyes, inner ear, and body to communicate together. And when those three systems sync up, balance improves dramatically. Some people even report feeling more confident walking on uneven ground after just a week of doing this. Now you may be thinking, okay, these exercises sound simple. But do they really work that fast? And the answer is yes, because they retrain your nervous system. And the nervous system adapts much faster than muscles. Think of it like updating an app on your phone. You don't need a whole new phone. You just need the software refresh. These exercises refresh your balance software. They reactivate dormant sensors. They reawaken inner ear pathways. They strengthen communication between your brain and your body. And because this communication refresh happens quickly, people feel results quickly. Let me explain something even more interesting. When people over 50 start doing these exercises, they often improve other things they didn't expect. Their walking becomes smoother. Their posture becomes better. Their feet feel more grounded. They feel more confident stepping over things. They can turn quickly without feeling dizzy. They start trusting their body again. And that last one, trust, is a big deal. Because loss of balance isn't just physical. It affects your confidence. It affects how you move. It affects the decisions you make every day. Some people stop hiking. Some people stop gardening. Some people avoid stairs. Some avoid playing with grandkids. And the worst part? They do it without realizing it. But when your balance comes back, your confidence comes back. And the world gets bigger again. Now let's talk a little more deeply about why these exercises work better than typical balance routines. Most traditional balance exercises focus on challenge. Stand on one foot for as long as possible, stand on a cushion, close your eyes, push yourself to the limit. But the problem with overly challenging exercises is that they overwhelm the nervous system. Too much difficulty actually shuts the system down instead of training it. But these 3 exercises do the opposite. They activate without overwhelming. They stimulate without stressing. They wake up without exhausting. And that's why the results come so fast. Your body responds immediately to gentle, targeted stimulation. Another reason these exercises work is because they target the 3 things that decline the most after age 50: ankle mobility, foot responsiveness, and head movement control. Your ankles become stiff from years of sitting, wearing shoes with stiff soles, and avoiding uneven ground. Your foot sensors weaken because they're not stimulated, and your head movement becomes restricted because you adapt your movement patterns over time. When you fix these 3 issues, your balance returns quickly. Let's dig into the science a little more, but I promise to keep it simple. Your brain has something called neural pathways. Think of them like highways that connect your body to your brain. When you don't use a pathway, it doesn't disappear. It just gets dusty. It becomes slow. Signals get weaker. But the moment you start using that pathway again, the brain remyelinates it. That means it builds insulation around the pathway to make the signals faster. And these exercises do exactly that. They force your brain to rebuild the communication pathways responsible for balance. And the amazing thing is, the brain can do this at any age. People in their 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s can rebuild these pathways. It's never too late. You're not too old. Your balance isn't gone. It just needs the right kind of training. Let me share something else. When people start doing these exercises, they often notice improvements in their core strength even though the exercises aren't focused on the core. That's because balance automatically activates your core muscles. When you shift weight, when you rock forward and backward, when you turn your head, your deep core muscles fire to stabilize you. And these are muscles that rarely get trained with traditional ab exercises. They're reflexive muscles. They don't respond to crunches or sit-ups. They respond to balance work. So as your balance improves, your stability improves, your lower back pain often decreases, and your walking becomes more controlled. Now let's talk about how long these exercises actually take to work. Most people notice a difference within a week. For some people, it's even sooner. Why so fast? Because you're not building new muscles, you're reactivating existing systems. And when you activate systems that have been asleep, the effect is immediate. Think of it like turning on a light switch rather than building a lamp from scratch. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're walking outside, and you step on a small rock without noticing. If your balance system is slow, your foot doesn't react quickly enough. You wobble. You lose control. But if your balance system is awake and sharp, your foot adjusts instantly. Your ankle stiffens. Your core tightens. Your weight shifts. Your brain reacts before you even know what happened. That's what these exercises train. The reflexes you had when you were younger. The reflexes that kept you safe without you thinking about it. The reflexes that made you confident, stable, and quick on your feet. And here's the crazy part. You don't need long workouts. You don't need equipment. You don't need a gym. You don't need fancy routines. You just need consistency. These exercises take less than 5 minutes a day. But those 5 minutes can change how you move for the rest of your life. Let's talk about why balance declines so noticeably after 50. It's not aging itself. It's not weakness. It's not deterioration. It's lack of stimulation. Think about how you moved when you were younger. You ran. You jumped. You turned quickly. You played sports. You walked on uneven ground. You moved in ways that constantly challenged your balance system. And your brain was constantly adapting. But as you get older, life becomes more predictable. You walk on flat floors. You move carefully. You sit more. You avoid quick turns. Your body gets less variety. And your balance system becomes understimulated. These exercises bring back the variety your body has been missing. Now let's talk about something important that most people don't realize. Falls don't happen because you're weak. Falls happen because your reaction time slows down. A younger person doesn't fall because their reflexes correct the stumble instantly. An older person falls because the reflex arrives too late. These exercises speed up your reaction time. They bring back the sharpness. And that alone can change your life. Another interesting thing is how balance affects your brain health. When you train balance, you stimulate parts of the brain responsible for spatial awareness, coordination, and motion control. Studies show that balance training improves cognitive function because it challenges the brain in a unique way. It forces the brain to solve physical problems in real time. It sharpens neural pathways. It improves focus. So when you train balance, you're not just protecting yourself from falls. You're improving brain performance. Let me also address something people often ask. If these exercises are so simple, why didn't anyone tell me earlier? The reason is simple. Traditional fitness focuses on muscles and cardio. Balance training is a niche topic. It's often overlooked. But for people over 50, balance matters more than strength or cardio. Because balance affects everything. Walking, standing, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, getting out of bed, turning quickly, playing with grandkids, feeling stable on uneven ground. Balance is the foundation of all movement. And when the foundation is strong, everything else becomes easier. Now imagine this. You start these exercises today. In a few days, your steps feel smoother. After a week, you feel more stable walking around the house. After 2 weeks, you find yourself turning without hesitation. After a month, your reflexes feel sharper, your movement feels more controlled, and you trust your body again. That's the power of balance training. It doesn't just improve your body. It restores your confidence. And that confidence spills into every part of your life. As we wrap up, I want you to remember something vital. You are not too old to improve your balance. You are not stuck with the stability you have now. Your nervous system can grow, adapt, and strengthen at any age. All it needs is the right kind of training, and these 3 exercises give your body exactly what it needs. Start today. Stick with it. 5 minutes a day. And you will be shocked at how fast your body responds. Your balance can improve. Your coordination can improve. Your confidence can improve. And your daily life can feel safer, smoother, and stronger than ever. Your future self will thank you.